So Peter, I love that answer because I feel I'm very similar in a way that I can kind of see forward,
Right.
where be very strategic, see where people are going. So let me ask you this, as you're seeing kind of the next opportunity, like your friend said, before they see it for themselves, do
Correct.
you find that sometimes you are maybe too forward thinking and they don't see it and thus that connection is not made? Or do you kind of connect the dots for them there?
Oh no, I connect the dots based on active listening and copious notes if I'm in a one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
So what the deal is this. I will say to the person, yeah, family law lawyer, trust and estates lawyer. I'm sure, trust and estates, you want to meet business corporate lawyers. I'm sure family law lawyer, you want to meet immigration. Please tell me if I'm wrong and correct me. And this is where I've also matured. I used to jump at it, right? But now what I say is, you're the expert. Would you give me a few moments and educate me? Okay. It's fascinating when you open-ended question with people, especially the question that I always start with is, what brings you here? And you know what? A lot of people don't even think about why they're there, man. They go, well, my boss told me to be here. Well, my business partner told me it was a good place to go. I like to hear, I'm here to connect with people for the right reasons, and I know who I want to meet in this room. And I always tell them, am I kind of somebody that could help you? Am I somebody you want to meet? Maybe you don't, and I'm going to move on to the next person. Okay. That is me now. Like, it used to be kind of professionally assertive to a point of, you have to know me. Okay. That has changed. And now I strategically go through that room and think. I try to find out in advance who's going to be there. That doesn't always happen. Okay. But let's go back to the plumber for a minute. The plumber may make an assumption, or the plumber may educate me, and I may make an assumption that they want big commercial general contractor jobs. And you know what the plumber says to me? I'd love it, but guess what? I'm not big enough. I can't take that contract on. I can't do that bid. So you really are mom and pop. You really are small business. Yeah, I am. But however, I'm also a plumber that does something like ice machines. Wow. Would you like to meet two of my peers in BNI Miami, Biscayne Connections, Al Canbar and Paul Radu, who are restaurant, club, and bar hospitality consultants? And then I go a step further. And this always blows people's minds because they think it's all about the next client. And I will say to people a lot of times, would you stop for a minute with the hunting and the next client? And would you think with me for a minute about Rolodexes? And they look at me really funny. So just the other day, I had this happen. Right? I'm talking to some folks in the labor law space. And of course, they're like, I want to meet business corporate lawyers. I want to meet, people that are in HR, right? So we're talking, and I started to talk to them about their verticals, right? And I said, of course, like, do you go to SHREM? Yeah, of course we go to SHREM, okay, which is Society of Human Resources and Managers. That's very well known. I'm like, but are you networking in places where the lawyer may be getting the same type of clientele? Okay. I said, take the client mode out and put the Rolodex in. And I said this, it is not about, especially in South Florida, Steve, I've watched it. It is not about who you know. It's not. I correct people on this all the time. It's about who you know and have you developed enough rapport with that person, maybe trust, that takes time. Have you developed enough rapport that they will open up their Rolodex for you and help you to meet quality people that they trust, whether that be a new client or that be social capital building
That's great.
amoeba building.
I love that, Peter. I like how you phrase that and developing that rapport so that they're comfortable for you, the
Sure.
trust to open that to open that door for you. I think that's a great point. So let me, another thing that came out of my experience in going through it, right, is that I think a lot of people And we'll go back a little bit what you were talking about, right? But there's this issue. I'm not gonna say issue, but how do you go about asking for business? Or number one, should you even ask for business, right? So you and I have talked a little bit, and you're always about you're connecting, right? So it's like, this is who I want to meet. I want you to connect, and you connect different people. So part of my question will be, do you ever go forward and ask a person directly for business? And I would say, separately, in addition to that, that I believe there is a lot of value at a certain point that you need to flat out just say, hey, listen, I've given you a lot, right? I don't know that you're thinking about me, but I think that we should try to, I do want you to give me business. I do want you to refer me business. So in this process, in your process, or what your recommendation, right, is how do you directly ask, other than, yes, I know you're there, you're showing up and you're saying, I want business. How do you go about asking for that, direct business? Or is it always, I'm just connecting and then maybe business will come out of it, right? How do you connect that?
Okay. I think that's a lot of different loaded questioning, and it's all good. Like, for me, it's always been about connecting. As I am maturing, I am learning there's certain aspects of the business that I work for a team. In this case, a CPA firm that's been around 38 years, family owned and operated. The ask that I have been willing to put out there more so now, again, maturing through, is, would you like a free, I said the term free, consultation and assessment of up to 3 years of your taxes and financials? And we do that for business owners. And I tell them, why wouldn't you want a second opinion for free? It doesn't mean that we're going to come back and say, you have to be our client. If your CPA is kicking butt, we're going to tell you, you don't need us. But we love to be the number two to anybody because we know mistakes are going to happen. We see it 85% of the time with the ones we review. So that is an aspect of what I am doing now. I think the other part of it is.
Let me ask you. Let me stop you for a second. How's that going? Who's raising their hand and saying that they would like to do that?
I am averaging 2 to 3 a week now of people sending in their financials, getting a full review done by Mr. Brett Landsman and Mr. Dean Palermo, our business advisory, who helps our businesses to scale, to market, to grow, pivot, whatever, restructure if needed to save more money, plus all of the tax advantages. What I would say to you is this. It is becoming more part of my repertoire to put that out there to ask. Now, here's the other part. I've gotten much better over time that if I really feel that I know that the other side of a connection is gaining, okay, and we are introducing and they are gaining, okay, because I'm asking, I'm following up. How did that go? Oh, financial planner X from 3 months ago. I heard from the trust and estate attorney that he gave you a $2.75 million client. And first off, they're surprised to hear that I followed up because nobody does. Nobody takes that. But that accountability, I said to this person, hey, we're 7 strategics in, you hit on one. It was a nice case that's going to grow. Where are we at on what you're doing to look inside your clients now, not your sources, to help us gain, not equal, but gain something that is related to bottom line, okay? The reverse happens. I will always come into an organization, and I am not going to step on anybody's foot.
Let me ask you, Pete, let me stop you for a second. I love this. I love how you go about it. And when you say to that person, hey, what are you looking about for us? Historically, I don't know if this is new or historical. How has been the reaction of that to those people when you call them out?
A lot of times, Steve, it's deer in the headlights because they don't expect that the giver is going to hold accountability because they just think he's a giver. Okay. But I also will go the reverse. Now, this has happened. Okay. And this can be a little controversial for a guy like me, but I'm a straight shooter.
Let's hear it. I love it.
Okay. I have come into organizations. Okay. Not too many of them, so people could guess if they look at my LinkedIn page, whatever. And I have said, okay, you're telling me that this X source is the best thing since sliced bread for you. Okay. And I will look at that partner and I will literally say to them, when was the last time she referred? And what did it look like? Because it didn't go through me. Okay. Which it doesn't have to, except you're telling me when I'm asking you, where is the good core of your sourcing so I can kind of help over here to duplicate it. And they start telling me this. And then 3 months later, because I track things, and I'll go back to that partner and I'll say, yo, what is going on here? I just did this with a partner that you know 3 weeks ago. I said to him, yo, we do a lot of helping here. What has been the result? And he said to me, oh, in the last 7 years, it's been one. And for us, we do a lot of work with construction. So it was a construction CEO. But I also was like, wait a second. I know this X source now, and I've helped him. Okay. And you're telling me we've gotten one opportunity out of this, but yet he also now will copy me when he makes a potential client for us. That gives me an ability to track. And in this case, I will follow up with him until I know that that client has a one-on-one with X partner. Okay. And I'm like a professionally assertive pit bull to some extent. And if they come back and say, well, yeah, it's been 6 months. It's been 4 months. Just tell us if that went out the window and we're not going to have the opportunity anymore. Because maybe it's also going to tell me, maybe you aren't the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm not going to necessarily tell them to their face, but they're going to see the opportunities, at least from my end of this business, slow down.
Peter, I
Okay?
love it. I love the
Okay?
accountability, holding people accountable, right? I want to take this and I want to build upon this. I want to get your answer to this one also, right? Because I think a lot of times in the past, when I've given people referrals, they're like, I wish I could refer back to you, right? I wish that I had clients that you think you would want. And I just find it disingenuous and flat out lazy that there are, I believe anybody can be very productive and help out somebody else. It doesn't have to be a direct client referral, like we talk about connections and items like that. How do you deal with people like that say, I wish I could, I don't know how to. I'm thinking I need to go in, maybe educate them a little more. But for people that come back with that, and anybody listening to this that think, well, I wish, they think that they can't help. This source has been so beneficial to them. What would you tell them? How would you educate them?
Well, that's delicate because you don't want to knock a source so hard that they stop thinking about you. So you got to kind of come up with a plan. Now, remember, I get to do this full time. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about ops and management per se. Okay. My partners expect me to be out in the community, to be doing my follow-ups. I expect myself to really give to other people before they're going to give to me. Sometimes it gets into, wow, Peter, you've given me 8 or 9 strategics. This is unbelievable. And they go, I'm so sorry I haven't been able to get you somebody. And I'll say, why not? And I will say, did you read the 1-pager that I sent you about the business? Does it crystal clear tell you in section 3 who I want to meet by category? And did I send you my specific hit list, which I call hit list, my assassination list of networking connecting?
I love that list. I know that list.
And that list is forever changing and evolving because I do my homework. I do my research. I think it's very important to give them a chance, to give them another opportunity, because that says maybe I didn't educate them crystal clear enough and be articulate. Maybe I wasn't a little too passionate or authentic about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Now, I've also had situations where it's gone a year and I'll come back around and be like, you faded out on me. What happened? You never followed up with the referrals of strategics I made for you. What happened? I'm going through this right now with an attorney who's become a good friend. She is dynamic. But every time I bring it up over the last 10 months, she says, I don't have time. And then I come back and I ask her, so what are you doing in here? She's in a network group.
Right.
What are you doing in here? Okay. And so what I did this time, after about 7 times with this, and about 7, 8 strategics that are floating out there, I went back to her 2 weeks ago and I said, look, I get it. You're slammed. You're damn good at what you do. People come to you. I said, but you also are telling people every week that you want to meet pipeline, right? You want to meet certain pipeline, which I provided for you almost 8 months ago. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you go back to your paralegal or your legal assistant? And could you please have your paralegal reach out on your behalf to these people? She says, well, there's no way I can meet with them until May. I said, I don't care. I said, that's okay. People understand. The point I'm trying to make to her is these people are just waiting and lingering. And they're coming back to me in some cases saying, what happened? And I'm like, I'm working on it. Okay, now that would happen to be a long period of time.
Yeah.
So I offered her that opportunity to try to move it. And she said, you know what? You're absolutely right. I should delegate that to them. And then they can calendar it for me in May and June when things get a little more, whatever, copacetic, balanced. So I think you have to be creative in that aspect to actually empower the other side. And sometimes that's got to come with a heavy hit. That's got to come with a direct. Okay. I will tell you, anybody that comes at me and is like directly out of the box and says, I'm tit for tat in this, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to meet with you. I don't want to meet with you. Okay. And I say that because.
But why not? That's interesting because I think they're being clear. I get it. It can be a little standoffish, but isn't it you want to feel reciprocated, right? Through this process. So
right?
Why is it wrong to say that I'm going to refer you, but then I expect you to refer back?
I didn't use the term wrong. Okay. What I used was for me in this role and knowing what I have and experience and the skill sets I have. And if I had $1 for everybody I've actually helped get a new client in South Florida, I wouldn't be having to work. But that's not who I am. I'm not the guy out there asking for the referral fee on the backside. Better or worse for me, I don't know. Maybe it's my heart. Maybe it's my soul. Maybe it's me believing in people. So what I'm going to come back to and say to you is, for me, that message to me says, and again, Steve, this is about someone I don't know.
Right.
I did not say someone I have a relationship with like you. Okay. I want to make that clear. I will say to them, so what you're sending me a message is that you're a taker. Quite frankly, you're a taker. And I don't want takers around me, Steve. And if I figure out over time, and sometimes I am the fool on the other side because I've given so much out of my heart, if I figure out that you're being a taker, I will catch up to you. You will catch up to me. And you'll see it dissipate right away. Okay.
I love it, Peter. I love it. I love your point about, you can say it, but it's how well do you know the person, right? And too early on, it becomes very clear because I've had those meetings. Listen, buddy, we can do this for
all day
hours.
long.
I just find you such a depth of information. I love how you share. I love how you're so open and transparent and everything. Let me give you, because maybe you'd like to, maybe a little final, if you want to put some final thoughts, if there's anybody out there listening to this for any parts of our conversation or anything else you'd like to put out there about people that are networking, wondering how to be better, items like that, what would be kind of the best Peter C. words of advice or kind of knowledge you could pass along?
I'm going to give you 2 parts to this because I think it's important. I myself, and you know this, so I'm open to disclosing it because it's part of my healing. I went through a mental health breakdown a year and a half ago for about 5 months. I had a lot of stuff happen and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I was going to get through it. It got tough. It got dark. I had to get help. I got help. what I will say to you as a man to a man or a man to someone out there that is depressed, has anxiety, has fixations, has concerns, doesn't think that they can make it. Look, get the help you need and ask for the help. Don't have a stigma as a white male or any male for that matter, but get your help and get yourself back on track. It is hard to find help, but ask a guy like me, ask a guy like Steve, get help, and you never expect some things to happen to you in life. So that's point A about me and about others. Okay. Secondly, I'm going to leave you with this. You know, there's a lot of business developers out there who a lot of times feel like they're isolated, they're on their own island. And what I have always done is I try to find other business developers, not salespeople, not marketers. I try to find business developers and I try to connect them and I try to bring them together as kind of what they call in BNI, some of the groups like Prime, they call them power teams, they call them amp up teams, right? This is because we are like-minded thinkers. And the more that you can put like-minded thinkers in your circle, the stronger you become with your confidence, with your credibility and reputation, not as a business owner, but as someone who is a connector for the right reasons. And so there is a group that I am getting involved with in Broward that is coming out of New York City. It's been in New York for years. And it is all about business developers. Okay. As a matter of fact, they take the ideal that business owners probably shouldn't be in the room.
Mm.
Okay. And I love this group. I've been twice. I look forward to another one because it is like-minded thinkers that are sharing Mastermind, just like EO does for business owners. Okay. Or Tiger 21 or some of the others that are out there. Okay. And this gives them an opportunity to get on an even playing field, and even playing with no noise from supervisors, from a board of directors. It gives them an opportunity to share skill sets. And I love it. So anytime as a business developer, Steve, you can put people around you that are like-minded thinkers and are doing what you do, what you're tasked with, dude, it's priceless. Okay. So I sum it up. Get help if you need help with your mental health. And it happens. I was just having this conversation the other day about the legal world. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with a couple of past Florida bar presidents who had it on their platform. Over here, proactively, when you find a business developer and you are one, purity, hug them, keep them close to your chest, and network with them. And you know something else I'll add to that? Don't sit there and say, well, they're a business developer for a manufacturer. I'll never get anything out of him or her. Oh, you wouldn't believe the nuggets and the skill sets you can learn from others in like-minded thinking, masterminding.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great word of advice. Those masterminds that aren't necessarily, like you said before, like what are you trying to get out of it, and to have those to be better at your skills. Peter C., as invaluable, and I love it, buddy. Thank you, man.
I love you, man, and you're great. And I love your legal knowledge, and I got to experience that over time, and your financial planning knowledge, and you're growing, and it's awesome to watch. And I'm glad I'm in your life. I am.
Thank you, buddies. Ditto, ditto.
Perfecto, man.